Ego is not something natural or real. It is something artificial that the mind creates over time. When a baby is born, there is no ego. The baby does not know if it is rich or poor, beautiful or ugly, strong or weak. It just exists in a pure, natural state of being. But slowly, the baby begins to hear names, labels, praises, judgments. You are a good boy. You are smarter than others. Don't be like your sister. Be like your father, and so on. These words start to create a false identity inside the child. The child starts believing, I am this, or I am that. This belief becomes the foundation of ego. Ego is not the real self. It is just an image made of thoughts, memories, comparisons, and opinions of others that we have collected and started calling me. As we grow older, this ego becomes stronger. It creates a wall between us and others. We stop seeing others as human beings. We start seeing them as better or worse than us. A man may look at someone driving a luxury car and feel small inside, or he may see someone begging on the street and feel proud of himself. This comparison is the root of ego. It always lives in duality, higher or lower, better or worse, right or wrong. Because of this, we are always in conflict. We are afraid of being less. We are hungry to be more. Even when we become more, the fear continues. What if someone else becomes even more than me? This ego brings competition. In school, we are told to come first, not to understand, but to win. In games, we are trained to defeat others, not to enjoy playing. Even in small things like social media, people compete for likes and attention. Ego wants to be the best, the winner, the special one. But this makes life a battlefield. Everyone becomes a rival. Friends become competitors. Colleagues become threats. Even family members start comparing and competing. Ego turns life into a race where there is no peace, no joy, only stress, jealousy, and insecurity. In relationships, ego creates misunderstandings and fights. A man may feel he is the head of the family and others must obey him. A woman may feel she is more caring and sacrifices more, so she deserves more love. In love, ego expects, demands, controls. It says, you should make me happy. You should agree with me. You should never hurt me. When these expectations are not fulfilled, ego feels hurt, insulted, and angry. True love cannot exist where ego is strong. Love is soft, ego is hard. Love forgives, ego holds grudges. Love flows freely, ego builds boundaries. That's why many relationships fail, not because of lack of love, but because of the presence of ego. In the mind, ego becomes the center of all thoughts. It constantly thinks, what will people think about me? How can I become more successful? How can I prove I am right? The mind becomes a servant of ego. It keeps planning, worrying, calculating for the sake of protecting or expanding the ego. Even our spiritual search can be corrupted by ego. A person may meditate or follow religion not for truth, but to become someone special, someone enlightened. This subtle ego is even more dangerous because it hides behind good intentions. In religion, ego becomes very visible. People fight over whose religion is true. They defend their God, their scriptures, their rituals. They feel superior just because they belong to a certain religion. But truth is not a matter of belonging. It is a matter of understanding. Ego uses religion to divide, to judge, to control. A person may go to temple, church, or mosque every day, but still be full of anger, pride, and hatred. That is not religion. That is ego dressed in religious clothes. Real religion destroys ego. It makes one humble, silent, open, and loving. Ego also expresses itself through nationality. People feel proud of being born in a particular country, even though they did nothing to earn it. They think, my country is the best, and look down on others. Wars have been fought, millions have died, just because of this national ego. But the earth has no borders. The trees, rivers, mountains, and animals do not belong to any nation. It is the ego of man that divides land and then defends it. This ego creates soldiers, armies, and hatred, all in the name of patriotism. But the truth is, the world is one. Humanity is one. Ego blinds us to this simple fact. In sports, ego hides behind the joy of playing. At first, a child plays for fun, but soon the coach, the parents, the society tell him, "You must win, you must beat others." The game becomes a war. The player forgets to enjoy and starts worrying about victory. The ego feels high when it wins and low when it loses. The same happens in entertainment. Actors, singers, performers, most of them begin with love for their art, but soon ego takes over. They want fame, followers, awards. When people clap, ego grows. When people criticize, ego suffers. But both are traps. True art comes from silence, not from the desire to impress. In the workplace, ego causes endless problems. A person may do a job not because he loves it, but because it brings status or power. Another may work only to compete with others or to show off. Ego wants the corner office, the bigger salary, the respect of others. It does not care about inner growth or meaningful work. It only cares about looking good in the eyes of the world. Because of ego, people become dishonest, stressed, manipulative. They sacrifice their health, relationships, and joy just to maintain their image. But this image is fake. It has no substance. It is like a balloon, empty inside, big outside. Ego always wants to feel superior. It loves thinking, "I am better than others." This may be based on money, beauty, knowledge, position, or even goodness. A person may help others and then think, "Look how kind I am." But real kindness does not think like this. Ego can even hide in humility. A person may act humble but feel proud inside for being humble. This is the trick of ego. It can wear any mask. The only way to go beyond ego is to see it clearly, without judgment or justification. Ego also creates a false idea of strength. A person may speak loudly, dominate others, and never accept mistakes. This is not strength. It is weakness. It is fear hiding behind a tough face. Real strength is gentle. It does not need to prove anything. A truly strong person listens, admits faults, and does not try to control others. Ego cannot do this. It always wants to be right, to win every argument, to be the center of attention. But this creates stress, loneliness, and a deep sense of separation from others. Even the ideas of rich and poor are born from ego. A person may have millions but still be poor in love, peace, and awareness. Another may have little money, but live with deep joy and simplicity. Ego values outer wealth, not inner richness. It says, "The rich are successful, the poor are failures." This belief creates inequality, pride, and shame. People look down on those who have less and worship those who have more. But life does not work this way. A peaceful heart is more valuable than a fat bank account. Ego needs others to be small so it can feel big. It constantly compares. "I am better than him. I am more talented than her. They are foolish. I am wise." This attitude makes one blind. It becomes difficult to learn from others, to feel grateful, or to grow. One starts living in a bubble where only one person matters, the self. But this self is not real. It is made of fear, pride, and illusion. The real self is quiet, alert, compassionate. It does not compare, it simply observes. Some people always see others as weak or wrong. They need to feel special, unique. They may say, "Nobody understands me," or "I'm not like these ordinary people." This is also ego. It creates isolation. Such people may appear confident, but inside they are lonely. Because ego separates, it cannot truly connect. It may talk, but it cannot listen. It may smile, but it cannot feel. Deep down, it is afraid of being nothing, so it keeps shouting, "I am something." But truth begins when we are ready to be nothing, just open, empty, aware. Ego makes life heavy. It keeps collecting wounds, memories, insults, and pride. It cannot forgive easily. It cannot relax. It is always on guard, always pretending. A small joke can hurt it. A small praise can inflate it. It is like a balloon floating in the air. Any needle can destroy it. Living with ego is living in fear. Fear of failure, rejection, loneliness, and death. That's why ego keeps chasing success, pleasure, fame, and approval. But nothing satisfies it. Even if the whole world bows to you, ego will still feel something is missing. The moment you see ego for what it is, a shadow, a lie, a prison, you start becoming free. Not by fighting it, but by watching it. When someone insults you, watch how ego reacts. When someone praises you, watch how ego smiles. Just watching is enough. Slowly, the ego loses its grip. You no longer need to prove, compare, win, or control. You start living simply, naturally. You work with joy, not ambition. You love without conditions. You rest without guilt. You listen without judgment. This is freedom, not from the world, but from the self you thought you were.